everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name is Mike Piwowarski, coming to you live from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most here on The Rundown. 2A views, conservative news, and Craig, it's Taco Tuesday.
Oh, yes, it is.
It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos. It's raining tacos. Out in the street. Tacos. All you can eat. Lettuce and shells. Cheese and meat. It's raining tacos. Yum, 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 yum. It's like a dream.
Oh, I never get tired of that song. I don't know why, but I don't. But anyway, folks,
It's a
welcome
happy
to
song.
Taco Tuesday. How you doing today, Mike? How's the tacos? How are your tacos doing thus far today?
You know, did not have any lunch tacos today. Was not able to get by my favorite taco truck, so hoping to perhaps whip up a batch of them here later this evening.
My daughter had planned, and she had made over the weekend a new kind of taco, and it went okay. But I think she's planning on redoing it today for Taco Tuesday and upgrading the plan/recipe. It's supposed to be one of those tacos that you dip into a dipping sauce, but it just the consistency we were having a challenge with. So we're gonna work on that, and we're gonna retry it today.
Listen, I'm just glad you didn't say it was some kind of vegan taco lettuce wrap or something like that.
Yeah, I don't do vegan. I am a meatitarian. Okay.
Yep. I'm a vegan by proxy, right? I eat things that eat grass.
There you go. A vegan by proxy. There you go. I don't want to be fed my food's food.
That's right. There you go.
Excellent. We missed you yesterday, sir.
Long day at the factory. It was time to make the donuts. Couldn't get away from it.
Sometimes, folks, it just be like that. But I appreciate the days in which when I do have my good friend Mr. Piwowarski with me because, well, it's always more entertaining, at least for me.
Yeah, and the censors over at YouTube, evidently.
Oh yeah, usually those are shows that we know pretty much are gonna make it past the censors.
Yeah, the solo shows, yeah.
Speaking of that, let's go ahead and get into today's program. But before we do, let's go ahead and give a quick shout out to our sponsors.
Yep, let's say hi to our good friends at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net, hitmanindustries.net. Went there yesterday and saw some new honeycomb patterned engravings on barrels, AR barrels, and on the new Glock barrels. So make sure you check out hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly fighting the good fight behind the enemy lines. Make sure you take part in California's future today. And again, make sure you keep your eye on the California 6th congressional race. If you want the best in concealment holsters out there, get over to Hog Holsters. That's HAWGholsters.com. Get best tactical concealment holsters on the market, bar none. Use the discount code The Rundown, all one word, all caps, no spaces. And if you want some awesome field gear, hanging out in the woods gear, going fishing, whatever you need for the outdoors, check out uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. These are our sponsors. They bring us to you so that we can bring you to them. So do us a favor, do yourself a favor, do them a favor. Visit them by following the links in the description to this program. Go there, check them out today, and make sure you tell them it was the guys over at The Rundown that sent you. Also, if you haven't already done so, make sure you like, share, subscribe. However you are partaking of the program, make sure you partake in multiple different places. In case you didn't know, you can watch us on YouTube. You can watch us on Rumble. You can watch us on Opslens. You can watch us on Spotify. You can watch us even on Twitter. That's right, in the Twitter sphere. Elon Musk is letting us do our thing. So check us out wherever you do. Watch in multiple locations because, as we said before, we never know how the Facebook or the YouTube critics are going to, try to censor us. So it's always good to have us connected in multiple different places and encourage your friends to do the same. We don't care how you partake, just partake. And with that, we're going to go ahead and get into today's news. Where are we at here? Oh, our first story. Now, this is interesting because I'll tell you why this is interesting, because we are constantly told over and over and over again that the healthcare, the gender affirming healthcare that comes from, that they're trying to push, that is being denied in some states to minors. We're told that it's vital healthcare, that these children will die without it. Well, the Surgeon General for the Biden administration has actually come out and said that, well, it's not just health care, it's mental health care. Check it out.
It's such an important issue for our youth and adults. As you said, some of these laws are actually extending into adulthood. We often say that gender-affirming care is health care, gender-affirming care is mental health care, and gender-affirming care is literally suicide prevention care. Would that be your view as well?
I 100% agree.
All right, so Mike, let's nail this down here real quick. So in other words, this is only physical health care because it helps them deal with mental health. And the only physical issue here is whether or not a child will commit suicide if they are not allowed to have their penis and testicles and or breasts removed.
Yeah, nothing like getting trans mental health care advice from a 60-year-old dude in a dress and a 14-year-old transvestite, right? It's perfect advice there. People that 3 years ago would have been mandated to get mental health care for what was going on, for their desire to mutilate their bodies. This is the sign of times, right? It's the forcing of the views down upon us. It's a continuation of what we saw with the Obama presidency. Using the military as the guinea pigs for their social controls. And now we see it pushed out into the public with the current administration and these clowns here on video.
And Mike, the thing is first of all, I would subscribe to you that if not allowing someone to remove or permanently disfigure or permanently harm their body, if the only way in which to prevent them from committing suicide is to allow them to do that, I would say that there are greater issues at stake in that individual's life than their gender identity. Number one. That's key, number one issue, that if there is anything in your life, if there's anything that is so external that if you are not allowed to do it, you will commit suicide. I mean, what if I said, well, you know what? If I didn't get to cut off my arm, I might commit suicide. Does that then mean that they should allow me to cut off my arm or to poke out my eye or whatever it might be? And once again, we're talking about children in many of these cases. I mean, that's the thing. And here, once again, it points out in the piece, it says, Levine, who advocates for the normalization of child sex changes during an interview last week with a transgender activist, downplayed the procedures like irreversible sex reassignment surgeries and puberty blockers as just mental health care. Now, if it's mental health care, then does that not tell you, or is that not a sign that gender dysphoria is a mental health issue, not a health issue.
Yeah, it's clearly a mental health issue, but like you said, granting surgical procedures to save mental health is akin to insisting on your arm being cut off rather than committing suicide. It's not common. It's not common sense at all. Craig, I recently saw one of these studies talking about trans people in government service, and the study cited for them. And of course, it was thrown away because it wasn't the answer they wanted. It said 40% of pre-op trans people are suicidal in some manner or another, and then post-op, that number changes to 40%.
Which is pretty much the same. And which tells you that, okay, there is an issue there, and the issue is not the primary issue is not that their gender dysphoria. It is their suicidal ideation. That's number one. That is first and foremost what needs to be dealt with. That is the true issue, not gender identity. I'm sorry. I know some of y'all out there who are bought into this stuff agree with that or don't agree with that. But once again, I will continue to say, if you are a grown adult and you decide that's what you want to do to yourself, that's how you want to live your life, that is fine. But now this is an ideology that's being foisted upon children. And children in particular who are impressionable, children who are still trying to figure out who they are, right? Including their bodies and all of that, should not be making permanent, I will say this again, permanent disfiguring decisions. We don't allow someone under the age of 18 to even get earrings in many states without their parents' permission. We don't allow them to get tattoos without their parents' permission. Heck, in California, you can't even go to a tanning salon with your parents' permission under the age of 18. And by the way, in California, you cannot get, what is it? And you are not legally old enough to engage in or consent to sex at the age of 12, but you are old enough to consent to a sex change at the age of 12.
Yeah. Let's I want to be clear too, as we wrap it up. If you're an adult and you choose to be a trans person and go through either the dressing or the procedures and whatever you do, and that's all that you're doing this for yourself, hey, good on you. Live your life. We both, Craig and I, have friends in that category. The issue we have is when you sit up there wearing the government uniform on stage, advocating for the disfigurement of children. Okay, that's where the line is drawn for me. Exactly.
And on that note, we will move on to the next one. California amends a bill to unseat school board members. Now, this is an important one because you guys may recall there's been a revolt across the country, right? People who've seen what's been going on in schools, the indoctrination that's been going on, the sexualization of our children that have been going on in our schools, promoting not just the LGBTQ agenda, but really in some of these books, I'm serious, promoting pornography, right? Pushing pornography in our school libraries. And you've got a bunch of parents who stood up. Sorry about that. You got a bunch of parents who stood up and said, no. And they ran for school board. And now they're on those school boards. And by the way, they ran and they won. And now they're sitting on these school boards. And now you have a bill in California. California, we have this process called the gut and amend, where basically they take a bill that's already passed a bunch of committees, already passed its first house. They take out all of the language that's in that bill and they put in a whole bunch of new language. That's why it's called a gut and amend. So they take out all the old language, they put in a bunch of new language, and then they try to push it through the process to the very end. This bill, Assembly Bill 1352. Now, it was by Assemblyman Mark Berman. It's an education bill, which basically had something to do with private education schools or whatever. Anyway, so the bill was gutted and amended, right? Or the individualized county child care subsidy plans. was what it had to do with. Well, now what they've done is they've pulled it out. They pulled that language out and they put in new language. And in the new language, it makes it easier for school board members and unions and union thugs and some of these activists to remove sitting school board members that they disagree with. So in other words, you don't have to go through a recall process. You can literally just either censure them or have them removed from the school board. Now, maybe it's just me, but I like the way that it says it notes in this article here over at the California Globe. Sounds kind of despotic to me.
Yeah, I would call it Newsomian, right? This is clearly got his hand on it, right? How do I control my opponents? How do I control those that oppose me? We've seen that in the past 10, 20 years or so that school boards have been taken over by the right, and there's been a very good push by the left, and there's very good push by the right to regain control of school boards, or at least have a presence on school boards. And now that they're doing so, I guess the left doesn't think it's fair and is trying to, change the rules and methods for, being on a school board. There's one way I understand that an election works, right? And that's the people choose who's on or off that school board.
Well, now there's one other thing that I want to throw out there to the folks who are proposing this bill. And then keep in mind that if Democrats and unions can use it to remove school board members, guess who else gets to use it to remove school board members? Yes. If you have a new majority that is now the majority on that school board, there is nothing to keep them from removing some of the folks who disagree. Now, I'm a believer in the fact that, you know what, I think it takes whoever is elected is a representative of those who voted for them. And they're a voice. They have a right to have a voice and should not be removed because you disagree with them. But, the left, we know they're not interested in disagreement. They're not interested in open and honest debate. All they want, quite frankly, is to, all they want is to shut down the opposition so that they can rule like the tyrants that they are.
Yep, and that's exactly what we're looking at. Another path to tyranny: how to control your elected officials and get them to do what this current administration anyway wants them to do.
Exactly, and stuff like this happens in one-party controlled state. In this case, the California, ruled by pretty much the Democrats. This is the sort of stuff that we have to deal with here in California. I have a feeling that this. What I'm hoping is that there are enough reasonable people on the other side of the aisle that will see this gut and amend. Because, by the way, this was done by Mia Bonta, who is the wife of the Attorney General. So she knows a lawyer. She knows this is unconstitutional. But, then again, she doesn't care when the state of California gets sued because guess what? It's not going to come out of her pocket. The legal fees are not going to come out of her pocket or out of her husband's pocket. It's going to come out of our pockets. Well,
when is unconstitutional?
You're not in California.
Yeah. When has unconstitutional ever been a bar to creating California law?
Exactly. All right. Moving right along. Interesting thing happened on the way back from the crime scene. New York City has started processing DNA on crime guns faster than ever. Gee, I wonder what lit a fuse under their behinds to actually do, what would that be called? Oh, that's right, do their jobs. Let's go to the story. Here we go. Mayor Eric Adams issued a warning Monday to anyone who uses guns to commit crimes. The evidence doesn't lie. Science is coming for you faster than ever, Adams said. The city is now processing DNA evidence on firearms faster than ever. The OCM DNA Crimes Unit achieved a 30-day or less turnaround for testing analysis of evidence crimes guns, the mayor added. That is the fastest in the nation and twice as fast as it used to take. A year ago, the city created a DNA gun crimes unit within the medical examiner's office. With a $2.5 million investment, it upgraded the technology and added 24 forensic scientists. Now, Mike, I want to give them some credit here, and here's what the credit that I want to give them. They have actually decided that instead of going after the law-abiding citizens who own and possess firearms and may use them in self-defense, they are actually using them to go after people who have committed crimes. Funny idea, huh? Very innovative.
Yeah, again, and a great tool. But one of the big problems we have with law enforcement today is that they want to rely upon technology rather than on police officers. Putting more individuals on the street, putting more people out there. We know that New York City has an incredible shortage due to the retirements, due to the defund the police efforts, that they are so shorthanded. It's making the streets unsafe. So rather than first bolstering the people on the road, they've decided to go to technology to help try and make things safe. I don't have any problem with the technology. Let's get our numbers up on the street where they should be first.
Oh no, I completely agree. It should be done in addition to, not instead of.
Correct. Exactly.
And I think that, by the way, is an excellent point. Definitely an excellent point made right there. But it's one of the few things I can say that Eric Adams is actually doing correct when it comes to firearms in his city.
Yep. Yes.
All right, moving right along. Oh, okay, this is a fun one. All right, there is only one president, current or former president, who is who is alive today, who is not a descendant from slave owners. You will love this. I found this at Breitbart. You will love this. All those people who are descended from racists. Yeah, that includes or slaveholders. That includes George W. Bush. It includes Jimmy Carter. It includes Joe Biden. It does not, however, include Donald Trump. President Joe Biden and every living former U.S. president, with the exception of former President Donald Trump, are descendants from slaveholders, reported by Reuters. A report by Reuters revealed Tuesday. Former presidents Jimmy Carter, George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, and Barack Obama are reportedly direct descendants of slaveholders. Obama is reportedly a descendant of a slaveholder through his white mother's side. The report determined that Trump was not a descendant of slaveholders because his ancestors came to the United States after Americans abolished slavery. So there it is. Barack Obama's legacy of white supremacy.
Yes, and even if his ancestors, Donald Trump's ancestors, had come prior to the abolishment of slavery, Donald Trump probably wouldn't have been a descendant of them because he's a New York City guy. And guess what? New York City banned slavery for the most part a long time before the Civil War. It was a northern industrial Republican city at the time. And guess what? No slaves.
Well, there you go. There you go. Good science right there. Good science, good history. Anyway, yeah. Thought y'all would love that one. So yeah, when anyone asks you, just remember when they start talking about the legacy of white supremacy, remember to mention Bill Clinton, Jimmy Carter, Barack Obama. They are oppressors. They have a legacy of white supremacy in their background.
That's it. Interesting facts. Interesting facts. Yep.
All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to our parting shots, brought to you by Hog Holsters. Go to hogholster.com and get your Hog Holster. Make sure you use the discount code The Rundown. All caps, no spaces. Get your Hog Holster today. All right, we're going to start off today. Biden is largely going to be the theme today for our parting shots. Let's see here. Oh, here's the first one. Gotta love this one. It says here, Biden has announced by 2025, all wildfires must be electric. Is that a Babylon Bee headline?
I think that's real. And I think actually they're rolling it out in California in 2024.
Why does that not surprise me? Seriously, why does that not surprise me? Why does this not surprise me? Although if we were ever looking for evidence as to how gun laws don't work, it would probably be Hunter Biden. As noted here, Hunter Biden is proof that no gun law will keep a gun out of a criminal's hand. And we know that he is pretty much a criminal. In fact, he comes from a family of criminals. We call them the Biden crime family. They're more popularly referred to. And, Biden even admitted that you cannot assume that he is not corrupt.
Senator Biden, it's nice to have you here as the youngest member of the Senate, the one, therefore, who may expect the longest career there. I wonder if you'd say to us, since it's clear that you're not corrupt and you got elected, why should people think that the system produces corrupt results when there you are?
Well, I'm not sure you should assume I'm not corrupt, but thank you for that, though.
Which, by the way, leads us to our final parting shot. There are 3 types of people who support Joe Biden: the dead, the brain dead, or the brainwashed. Sometimes they happen to be all members of all 3. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. On that note, Mike, it's about time to call it a day. So let's go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsors before we go.
That's right. Let's say hi to Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net, hitmanindustries.net. You can get rifle and pistol caliber barrels in any length you want for your AR. Just go to hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly fighting the good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. Pay special attention to the California 6th Congressional District race. And of course, if you want some awesome field gear, just hanging out outside, go check out our friends at uscombatgear.com.
Once again, folks, please take a moment, visit our sponsors, and make sure you tell them the guys over at The Rundown sent you. Apologize for keeping it a little short today, but brother got places I gotta be, so I appreciate you tuning in. I also appreciate the fact that you will be back tomorrow when we come back for Hump Day.
Hump Day.